Now, over the past few weeks, Sparkbrook has hit the headlines for all of the wrong reasons, as 3 men from the area were found guilty of terrorism offences. But how do you change perceptions of a community? Birmingham graffiti artist Mohammed Ali says people don't know enough about the people of Sparkbrook, where they came from, how they built their lives, and the difference they've made. Mohammed, welcome.
Thank you, Arshia.
Mohammed, how have you found the coverage then, with all of this media attention on Sparkbrook?
Well, it's nothing new, is it really? It seems to me that it kind of goes away and then something happens or something crops up and the media get excited again. And, it just kind of seems to reappear, really. So I suppose it's not a surprise. We heard about the CCTV cameras and now it's kind of somehow been brought back to life, and then certain MPs and councillors will make some weird comments, and then it's back in the media again. So it seems to be a bit of a circle, really, and it's a bit frustrating. You kind of think we need to snap out of that, and a bit annoying as well, in fact, how things just get kind of whisked up, if you like, by certain people.
Explain your connection then with Sparkbrook.
I was born and raised in Sparkbrook. Don't live there anymore. Don't live too far away, but it's an area that really... it's kind of close to me in the sense that it's a place where my father chose to stay. He owned one of his first businesses there, fish and chip shop in the area about 35 years ago. And it's a place that, even though I don't live there, it's still somewhere that kind of I have a connection to. It's somewhere where you grew up. So when you see these things kind of thrown about in the media and things, and negativity and stuff, it's important. It's an area that I think is, in a sense, kind of a microcosm of really of how multicultural Birmingham, multicultural Britain, of how Sparkbrook used to be. It was very diverse, and the different communities. We grew up kind of playing with kids that were of different colour and different faith, and how things have changed now. Certainly things have changed, and how the community became predominantly Asian, strong Muslim community, and it's just seeing that change is something that's interesting for me, and I think it's something I want to explore and highlight, really.
Sure, and you've started exploring and highlighting, as you say, that change. You've been busy documenting stories. Yeah. For this theatre show we're putting on, it's something I've been planning to do for quite a while now. It's, as I said, I've done lots of artistic projects in different places, in different cities, in different places around. But actually coming back home and doing something it's important, it's almost like I want to kind of give something back, in the sense to the city that I live in, the community that I came from, and actually contribute to some of the problems, instead of talking about it. We hear on the radio, all kinds of different theories and all kinds of initiatives of how we're going to deal with certain social problems. What I wanted to do was just get on with doing the work and actually crack on with it, and using the arts as a way to not just talk about it, and but really kind of see how we can find alternative ways, of real ways, engaging ways of going out into the heart of the community, engaging with the people, extracting their stories from those people, and trying to do justice to it as well. That was important. How do we do justice? What are the issues? And I think sometimes you really have to kind of throw yourself into a space to understand the people. You kind of get kind of really kind of stuck in on the street corners, if you like, to listen and engage, and then try to reflect at the same time. And what sort of stories have you picked up on then?
Well, the idea was really how Sparkbrook used to be, how it has kind of evolved over the decades, how it became a kind of a gateway for migrant communities, hearing the stories from elders from the area who are both of Asian, who are Irish. We have Afro-Caribbean. We kind of got a broad mix of kind of different perspectives of how the area was known. They used to work at the local factories in Sparkbrook. BSA factory was something that really resonated with people. And actually finding these parallels, if you like, of how the BSA factory, what Birmingham is known for, Birmingham Small Arms, it was something that served many different communities. In the actual fact, going back to the 40s, at the time when it was bombed during the Blitz. But at the same time, when we had South Asian migrants move into the area, Pakistan, Bangladesh, etc., how it served a different community in the 60s onwards. So actually, sometimes I think, we don't really explore some of the real kind of parallels. we talk about parallels in terms of kind of the principles that we share as human beings, but actually real things like just a building, a physical space that was a livelihood for different people. How when you say BSA factory, people kind of have nostalgic feelings about these things, and I thought, you know what, I need to explore the real kind of on that real level, if you like, of what are the important things to the people of these areas, and how can I now highlight that?
And these important things, these issues that are out there, these stories that are out there, why are they so relevant to people then, do you think, in today's world?
These stories, the times we live in, let's face it, it's when we see these negative stories around terrorism in Sparkbrook and these extremists that are hiding in the community, well, that's what we're led to believe, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I think we live in a society where segregation and this kind of the ignorance is encouraged in the sense that how we seem to just not. I think there's a number of different factors. There is some truth in that how communities are kind of going into the bubbles in a sense. I mean, I would say certainly growing up in Sparkbrook and how it is today, it's completely different. It wasn't like how it used to be, where when there used to be more of that kind of interaction and engagement with different people. But the way society is going in that how we increasingly are not engaging. We don't engage in the same spaces, in the same social spaces. People won't go to certain people won't go to the pub, which might be kind of a place where people will engage socially. So actually,
I wouldn't go to a pub.
Yeah, exactly. So the point is that if you have different social spaces and you're not engaging in any place, there's a serious problem there that you have. So I'm not suggesting that we all can't go and flock into the pubs, of course. But actually, can there be other ways of engaging in different spaces, in alternative spaces that might be wholesome environments that everybody is comfortable with? How do we do that? And I think that has probably led to this kind of how we've kind of disconnected from one another, and that's why these stories and using art spaces, theatres, galleries, museums, whatever it be, the arts as these alternative ways of connecting people. Because when we've done shows and art events, it's just beautiful to see how you can connect, bring different people in through this kind of universal language.
See, it's interesting, isn't it? Hearing you talk, as you're talking about kind of allowing people that creative freedom, if you like, to integrate and to have that conversation. It's all about that dialogue, that conversation, to get to know what each other's about, if you like. And I suppose for some people, they're quite comfortable with talking to people like that. Other people are quite shy and timid, and actually they don't want to be in such an open space.
Yeah, I think so. I think what I'm trying to do as well is be a little bit provocative as well. And some of the themes that we're exploring within the show we're doing are certainly going to be challenging, difficult, uncomfortable even for some. We're talking about dealing the stories of how racist gangs used to come into the area of Sparkbrook in the 70s. We're talking about skinhead gangs that would come in and looking for young Asians to beat up. And these are stories that haven't really been told and shared. Are we really aware about the kind of the difficulties and the challenges of what our parents and our grandparents have been through, and recognizing that and actually presenting that in an artistic form through this show that we're doing? I think it's important for today in 2013 for us to just understand is what did this Muslim community that may be seen as the problem today, the Asian community that is the problem, the Sparkbrook, the people of Sparkbrook. Let's explore actually. Let's kind of go dig deeper and see what it is. How did this community come here? How did they settle? What was the challenges then? And what can we learn from those challenges? Perhaps something that can help us today in 2013.
Really interesting conversation that we're having right now, Mohammed. Mohammed, how can people find out more about this show then?
Yeah, you can go to the MAC website, macarts.co.uk, and the show's called If Walls Could Speak, and it's a 2-night show.
Imagine that, I love that line, if walls could speak.
Could speak, yeah, and if only they could, and the walls and the stories that we're sharing is that narrative. It's kind of using poetry, using kind of live graffiti, myself, be painting live, and kind of choreographed to the words of the poets that we've got and the kind of musicians. We've got a jazz musician, a vocalist called Cleveland Watkins. So it really is high caliber artists that we've pulled together to create I wouldn't call it a theatre show, because it isn't really. It's more of an experience. No one's sitting down in chairs. You're actually walking through the space. It's a promenade style show. So
I thought you were going to say that we're going to float then for the experience.
No,
the
we haven't got
flotation
there quite there yet. We won't be floating, but that's a great idea actually. People we won't be seated. It will be kind of you engaging all of the senses, whether it's visuals and sounds and projections on the wall and using lighting. So it really will be quite out of this world, this show. I'm very excited about it.
It sounds fascinating. When will it take place?
It's taking place on March the 17th and the 18th, 2 days.
March 17th and the 18th. And if they check out the MAC details, Midlands Art Centre.
Website. That's right, yeah.
Fantastic. Mohammed Ali, graffiti artist, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Arshia.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care, Matt. Bye.